Love her like you're leaving forever, fully, honestly, without ego. Don't wait to say what she needs to hear or show her what she means. Time isn't promised. Be present, not passive. Make her feel seen, chosen, and valued every single day. That's how love lasts. That's how she stays. We often fall into the trap of believing the people we love will always be there, that no matter how busy we get, how distracted we become, or how much we take them for granted, they'll stay. But the truth is, love isn't permanent by default. It survives when it's nurtured. It thrives when it's appreciated. That's why appreciating her presence, not assuming her permanence, is the foundation of meaningful connection. When you see her, really see her, not just as someone who fills a role or a routine, but as a woman with emotions, dreams, doubts, and desires, you begin to love from a deeper place. Her presence is a gift, not a guarantee. Every laugh, every conversation, every shared silence is a moment you'll never get back. And once you understand that, you stop wasting those moments with complacency. A lot of relationships fall apart not because of loud fights or betrayal, but because of quiet neglect. It's the slow erosion of intimacy when appreciation fades, when effort disappears, when we stop being present with the person we once worked so hard to attract. You begin to believe she'll always understand, she'll always wait, she'll always be there, but she won't. Even the most patient woman eventually grows tired of being emotionally invisible. Appreciation is more than compliments and flowers. It's in your tone. It's in how you listen when she talks about her day. It's in remembering the little things, how she likes her coffee, the show she's binge watching, the way her mood shifts when she's overwhelmed. It's in being aware and choosing every day not to take her for granted. You may think she knows how you feel, but love that isn't expressed becomes love that's questioned. And when you stop showing up fully, mentally, emotionally, physically, she starts to wonder if she's truly valued. You might be there in body, but if your mind is elsewhere, if your words feel empty, she'll feel the distance long before she ever speaks it. Appreciate her while she's still choosing you, while she's still giving her best, still hoping for yours in return. Because nothing hurts more than realizing you treated someone like they were permanent, only to find out they were just present. She's not waiting for perfection, she's waiting for presence, for connection, for you to care enough to notice, to act, to love her not just when it's convenient, but consistently. Love doesn't die all at once. It fades when moments are missed, when effort becomes rare, when later becomes never. So if she's in your life, love her like she matters today, not because she always will be, but because you recognize the value of now. Because presence, when appreciated, turns into permanence, not by force, but by choice. There's a silent kind of regret that creeps in when you realize you never said what needed to be said, not because you didn't feel it, but because you assumed there would be more time, more chances, more moments. But sometimes the chance never comes again. That's why it's so important to leave no words unspoken. In relationships, we often underestimate the power of our words. We think actions are everything, and yes, they matter, but words fill the spaces actions cannot reach. A simple, "I love you," said at the right moment, can quiet insecurities. A heartfelt "thank you" can make someone feel seen. And "I'm sorry" can heal wounds before they become scars. But when those words are kept inside, they lose their ability to build connection. When you hold back what's in your heart, thinking you'll say it later, you begin to gamble with someone else's emotional security. You assume they know. You assume they feel it. You assume your silence is safe. But silence, especially prolonged silence, can be incredibly loud to the person on the receiving end. She starts to wonder, does he care? Does he see me? Do I matter anymore? And those unanswered questions can begin to change the way she sees the relationship entirely. Saying what needs to be said doesn't mean dramatic speeches or constant affirmations. It means choosing to be emotionally honest, on the ordinary days, in the small moments. Tell her she's beautiful before she asks. Let her know you appreciate her, not just when she goes above and beyond, but even in the everyday things. Speak gratitude, speak affection, speak apology, speak reassurance. If you love her, let her hear it, not just feel it. And it's not just about love. It's about clarity, closure, and connection. Sometimes the words we withhold aren't romantic. They're necessary. Boundaries, feelings, truths. The things we keep locked inside eventually build walls between us. Relationships suffer not just from what is said, but from what is left unsaid. The unspoken becomes the unknown, and people don't feel safe in the unknown. You have no control over how long someone stays, no guarantee they'll wake up tomorrow feeling the same. But what you do have is this moment, this conversation, this chance to say what's real, the opportunity to remove doubt, to reinforce love, to bring clarity. Don't waste it. When you speak your heart, you live without regret. Even if things change, even if they walk away, you'll know you didn't leave anything buried. No unsaid "I love you," no withheld "I'm sorry," no missed "thank you." And that peace? That's something you carry with you forever. So if you feel it, say it. If it matters, speak it. Leave no words unspoken because silence might be comfortable in the moment, but expression is what keeps love alive. Being present in a relationship goes beyond simply being there physically. True presence means showing up with your heart, your attention, and your energy fully engaged. It means that when you're with her, you're not distracted, you're not halfway in and halfway out. You're all there. And in today's world of constant notifications, multitasking, and emotional detachment, showing up fully has become a rare and powerful act of love. So many people give the bare minimum and expect lasting connection. They confuse consistency with quality. Yes, you might text her every day or spend weekends together, but are you really showing up in those moments? Are you listening when she speaks, or are you waiting for your turn to talk? Are you looking at her or through her? Are you fully present or mentally somewhere else? Women can feel the difference. She can sense when your body is with her but your mind is elsewhere. She can feel it in your tone, your touch, your silence. And over time, that half-hearted presence becomes more painful than full absence. Because when someone you love starts to feel emotionally alone while physically next to you, the disconnection cuts even deeper. Showing up fully is about emotional responsibility. It means that when you choose to be in a relationship, you don't just bring your title, you bring your effort, your vulnerability, your emotional availability. You don't ghost her emotionally and then wonder why the relationship feels cold. You don't let days pass without intentional affection and then get surprised when she pulls away. She's not asking for perfection. She's asking for presence. She's asking for you to notice when her energy shifts, to care enough to ask how she really feels, not just out of routine, but out of genuine concern. To remember the things she tells you, the ones she never repeats, but hopes you heard the first time. To put your phone down and look her in the eye, to give her your time without making her compete for it. When you show up fully, you create a safe space for love to grow. You show her she matters, not just when it's convenient for you, but even when life is busy, stressful, or demanding. Love isn't tested in perfect conditions, it's tested in real ones. And how you show up when things aren't easy speaks louder than anything you say when everything's going well. Stop making her beg for the version of you she fell in love with. Bring that version back, not once in a while, but consistently. Because halfway love doesn't satisfy. Halfway attention doesn't build trust. Halfway presence doesn't make a woman stay. If she's giving you her full self, her love, her loyalty, her softness, you owe her the same. Not because she demands it, but because she deserves it. Showing up fully is not just about love. It's about respect. It's about choosing her every single day without hesitation or distraction. Most people don't realize what they have until it's gone. And by the time they do, it's too late. She's already emotionally checked out. already done crying herself to sleep, already tired of waiting for you to change. That's why you can't afford to wait for a wake-up call. You can't keep pushing love to the bottom of your priority list, expecting her to keep holding on. The truth is, relationships rarely end in an instant. They die slowly, one missed moment at a time, one forgotten compliment, one neglected conversation, one night of silence when she needed reassurance. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. But the damage? It's real. And the regret that comes afterward? It's brutal. Waiting for her to threaten to leave, waiting for her to stop reaching out, waiting until the house feels colder without her laughter. That's when most people wake up. But by then, she's already learned how to live without you. She's already realized that loving you meant constantly proving her worth while you stayed emotionally asleep. She won't always complain. She won't always fight. At some point, she just gives up. And it's that silence, the one that used to scare you but that you now ignore, that marks the beginning of the end. So why wait? Why wait until she's distant to start being affectionate? Why wait until she stops initiating conversations to finally ask what's wrong? Why wait until you've lost her to realize how much she meant to you? You don't need a tragedy to treat her like a treasure. You don't need a final warning to act like the man she deserves. If you know you love her, act like it now. Not when she's walking away. Not when she's crying. Not when she's gone. Now. Because every day you delay is a day she feels unloved, unnoticed, unimportant. And no matter how loyal she is, no matter how strong, even the best hearts get tired of being overlooked. She might forgive a lot, but she won't forget how it felt to love someone who made her feel like an afterthought. Love shouldn't require a crisis to feel alive. Appreciation shouldn't wait until absence. If you're lucky enough to have a woman who loves you deeply, don't test how far she'll bend before she breaks. Don't gamble with her heart hoping you'll get a second chance to make things right. There are no guarantees in love. No matter how long you've been together, she can leave. She can outgrow the version of you that refuses to grow. And when that happens, no apology, no gift, no sudden affection will undo the months or years of emotional neglect. So stop waiting for the wake-up call. This is it. Right now. This moment. Show up. Speak love. Give effort. Before the silence becomes permanent. Before her goodbye becomes real. Because the only thing worse than losing her is knowing you could have kept her if only you had loved her better when it mattered most. In a world full of options, distractions, and short attention spans, choosing someone and making them feel chosen every single day is a powerful act of love. It's not enough to tell her she's the one. You have to show her, over and over again. Not because she's insecure, but because love isn't a one-time commitment. It's a daily choice. Love loses its spark, not because people stop caring, but because they stop trying. They get caught in routines, texting at the same time, saying the same things, showing up out of habit rather than intention. The relationship becomes predictable, and what once felt exciting starts to feel like a checkbox. Loving beyond routine means refusing to let the fire fade just because life gets busy or familiar. It's easy to get comfortable when you think someone is already yours. You start assuming they'll always be there, that they know how you feel, that you don't have to do the things you did in the beginning. But that's the fastest way to make someone feel invisible. Because when love turns into routine, it starts to lose its depth, and no one wants to feel like just another part of someone's schedule. Routine has its place. It can bring stability. But love needs more than stability. It needs spontaneity, thoughtfulness, and consistent emotional engagement. The kind that says, I don't just love you, I'm still choosing you. I still want to surprise you. I still want to know you. That's what makes someone feel alive in a relationship. Loving beyond routine is texting her something sweet out of the blue, not just when it's expected. It's planning a random date, not because it's an anniversary, but because you remembered how much she loves a certain place. It's asking her new questions, exploring new parts of her, even after years of being together. Because people change, and if you don't stay curious, You'll wake up next to someone who feels like a stranger. It's about touch that isn't mechanical, compliments that aren't recycled, conversations that go deeper than, "How was your day?" It's showing her that even after all this time, you're still invested, still inspired, still committed to keeping the love fresh. When love becomes routine, it risks becoming transactional. You do this, I do that. You cook, I clean. You text, I reply. And slowly, you stop seeing each other as lovers and start functioning more like business partners. That's where emotional disconnection begins. That's when resentment grows. That's when one or both of you starts wondering what happened to the passion, the laughter, the softness. But when you love beyond routine, you breathe life back into the relationship. You remind her why she fell for you in the first place. You keep her emotionally full, not just functionally supported. You turn ordinary days into meaningful ones, not because you spent a lot of money, but because you were thoughtful, present, and intentional. So don't let routine be the ceiling of your love. Let it be the floor you build on. Keep creating new moments. Keep exploring each other. Keep choosing to surprise, to care, to see. Because when love becomes a habit, it fades. But when love stays intentional, it evolves, and so does the connection that holds you both together. Promises sound beautiful, but presence feels real. In relationships, we often get swept away by words. What someone says they'll do, how they plan to treat us, the future they paint with their promises. But words, no matter how poetic, mean nothing without action. And no amount of "I promise" can replace the comfort of consistent, intentional presence. Promises are easy to make. They come with excitement, emotion, and good intentions. But presence, that's where the real work begins. Presence means showing up when it's inconvenient. It means being emotionally available when you're tired, distracted, or overwhelmed. It's not just about being physically near someone, it's about being mentally and emotionally engaged. That's the kind of connection that lasts. She doesn't want to be loved just through your plans for tomorrow. She wants to feel loved today, in the way you listen to her without rushing, in the way you hold space for her feelings without judgment, in the way you prioritize time with her, not just when everything else is done, but because she is the priority. Too many relationships fall apart not because promises were broken, but because presence was missing. You promise to love her, to support her, to protect her heart. But if your attention is always somewhere else, if she has to ask twice to be heard, if she starts feeling like an afterthought rather than a partner, those promises lose their power. Being present means more than showing up for big events or anniversaries. It's about the little things, the check-in text during a busy day, the way you notice when her energy shifts, the effort you make to understand what's not being said. That's the kind of love that builds trust, that makes her feel safe, seen, and secure. And here's the thing. Presence doesn't always mean fixing everything. Sometimes she doesn't want a solution. She just wants to feel like you care enough to be there, to sit with her in silence, to hold her without rushing off, to choose her in the small, quiet, daily moments. That's where connection deepens. When you're truly present, she stops second-guessing the relationship. She doesn't need to replay your promises in her head to reassure herself. She feels loved. She feels chosen. Not because of what you said you'd do someday, but because of how you showed up today. So don't be the kind of partner who gives speeches and then disappears. Be the one who's consistent, who shows up, who listens, who makes her feel like home, not just with promises of a future, but with presence in the now. Because in the end, love isn't measured by how well you plan. It's measured by how fully you show up, day after day, moment after moment. Ego is one of the greatest silent killers in relationships. It disguises itself as pride, protection, even strength. But in reality, it builds walls between hearts that were once close. Loving without ego means choosing connection over control, softness over stubbornness, and vulnerability over being right. It means understanding that winning an argument is never more important than preserving the bond you share. When ego takes the lead, love becomes a battlefield. Every disagreement turns into a competition. Apologies become rare. Listening becomes selective, and emotional distance grows. Ego says, she should know how I feel. Love without ego says, let me make sure she knows. Ego says, why should I be the one to fix it? Love says, because she matters more than my pride. So many people think showing emotion or admitting fault is weakness, but there is nothing stronger than someone who can drop their ego and say, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. Help me understand better. That kind of emotional maturity builds trust. It tells her that your love isn't conditional, that she doesn't have to be perfect to be loved, and neither do you. Loving without ego means you're not keeping score. You're not holding past mistakes over her head or using silence as a punishment. You're not afraid to say, I miss you first, or to express affection even after a disagreement. It's the decision to put the relationship ahead of the need to always feel in control. A woman who feels safe to express herself without being judged or dismissed will give you a version of herself that's soft, open, and deeply loving. But when ego dominates the relationship, she starts to shrink emotionally. She walks on eggshells. She silences herself. And eventually, she stops trying altogether. Not because she doesn't care, but because she's exhausted from fighting a wall she can't break through. True love invites honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. It allows space for growth, conflict, and mistakes, because it's not rooted in who's right. It's rooted in the desire to understand each other better, to grow together, and to choose peace over pride. When you drop your ego, you stop seeing her as an opponent during disagreements and start seeing her as your teammate, because that's what love really is, a partnership, not a power struggle. It takes strength to say, I hurt you, and I want to make it right. It takes emotional intelligence to say, I reacted out of fear, not love. These are the things that deepen intimacy and create a space where love can truly thrive. So love her without ego. Love her with presence, humility, and care. Speak gently, forgive quickly, and don't let pride keep you from expressing how much she means to you. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being perfect, it's about being real. And real love doesn't need ego to survive. It only needs truth, effort, and heart. In the end, love isn't sustained by grand declarations or perfect conditions. It's built in the quiet choices we make every day. To love her like you're leaving forever means to show up fully, speak from the heart, and never take her presence for granted. It's choosing to see her, to appreciate her, to prioritize her, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. Stop waiting for a wake-up call. Don't love on autopilot. Don't assume she'll always be there. Choose her daily. Make her feel seen, heard, and wanted. Be present, not just promising. Be vulnerable, not prideful. Because when you love without ego, when you love beyond routine, when you leave no words unspoken, you give her something rare, the kind of love that feels safe, deep, and unforgettable. And if this were the last moment you ever had with her, could you say you gave your best, that you loved with intention, that she knew, without a doubt, that she was your choice? That's the kind of love worth giving. That's the kind of love that stays.